All right, we're on 4.4, lesson 11, and it says I can use addition of adjacent angle measures to solve problems using symbol for unknown angle measures. So we don't have our vocab today, but adjacent angles are going to be neighbors. Any angles that are next to each other are going to be called adjacent angles. That's what we mean when we say adjacent. They're just neighbors, okay? They're sitting right next to each other. So we're going to use their clues from our adjacent angles to figure out a missing angle. So looking at problem 1, this is very similar to the work we did in class today, except instead of a straight angle and instead of 90-degree angles, here I see that I have a full circle, right? And we got to remember what a full circle is equal to. Well, I know that if I go all the way around, I have 360 degrees. So I got to use that information to help me solve. So I know I have 90, I know I have 120, and then I have a mystery angle right here that I want to figure out, that x, okay? So if I'm going to write this as a problem, I'm going to be doing 120 degrees plus 90 degrees plus x, right? That x degrees is going to get me 360 degrees. So when I look at this, the first thing I want to do is just figure out what are these two together. I like to add those up to find out what they are. So if I do 120 plus 90, and I can stack them, I know that I have 0, 9 plus 2 is 11, carry the 1, and I get 210 degrees. So that means that's what I have left to make my 360. If this is 210, right, together, 210 degrees, goes past that 180, right? What am I going to have left for my x? So what kind of math would I do to figure out what my x is? 360 is my total. Here's my part. Remember, this is like our warm-ups where we have our number bonds. I have 360. I have 210. How do we figure out that missing part? Well, we subtract. So I'm going to do 360 minus 210. So if you subtract those two, what would you get as your final answer? You should get 0, 5, 1. So we get 150 degrees for our 360 angle. Perfect. So now let's look at another one. So on this one, we've got 3 mystery angles. I have x, y, and z. So part of this is that they're intersecting. And because they intersect, we can follow a certain rule. Whatever's on one side, on the other side is going to match it because they're crossing at the same part, right? So since this is 20 over here, my y is also going to be 20 degrees. They're cutting at the same exact angle. So my first one, y, is going to equal 20 degrees. Now I'm stuck with my 2x and z. Remember, these are going to be equal to each other because they're crossing. They're across from each other. They're crossing at the same angle. But we got to figure out what those angles are. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at this as a straight angle here. So I'm looking at this part right here, a straight angle. And I know if this is a line, right, and I have a straight angle, that's going to be equal to 180 degrees. So that means I have z plus 20 would equal that 180 degrees. So what kind of math do I do to figure out what z is? We should say subtract. I'm going to take 180 minus 20. 0, 8 minus 2 is 6, and 1. So my z is going to equal 160 degrees. Just 160 degrees. So if z is equal to 160 degrees, remember across the way, if it's cutting at the same angle, it's the same thing. X is also going to be 160 degrees. So now we found all 3 of our mystery angles. All right, now let's look at this as a word problem. So it says, Sophia is making a quilt square. The blue, pink, and green pieces meet at a point. At the point, the blue piece has an angle of 100 degrees, and the pink has an angle of 80 degrees. What is the angle measurement determined by the green? So I'm just going to box up things. So blue piece I know is going to be 100 degrees. My pink piece is going to be 80 degrees, and then I got to find out what my green piece is. So what is the angle measurement of my green piece? So I'm going to draw a picture first. So here's my square quilt. Okay. They're all going to meet at a point. So I'm going to put a point right here. Some of mine is going to be 100 degrees. So that's my blue piece. I'll put B for blue. Then I'm going to have 80 degrees, which would be my pink piece. And then I'm trying to figure out what my other side would be, right? So here I can see if it's meeting at this point, that's going to be that 360 degrees, right? I'm making a circle where they all meet in the middle. So let's add up what we have. Well, I've got 100 degrees for one, plus my 80 degrees on my other side, and then our mystery one, which is our green. So I'm going to put G with the degrees. That's what we're trying to find out. So what can I do first to figure this out? Well, if I look at here, I can add these two numbers together. So I can get 360 degrees. And what's 100 plus 80? 180 degrees. Okay, so now we know that this side is 180 degrees. My blue and pink together are going to make 180 degrees. So how do I find out what my G is to make it a full circle? Well, 180 should jump out at us. We should know 180 is half a circle, right? So if this is a full circle, what am I adding to it? The other thing we can do is just subtract. 360 minus 180. And we should get 180, right? That half a circle. So what is the angle measurement determined by the green piece? The angle measurement is, or the angle measurement of the green piece is 180 degrees. So all of this is using what we know about straight angles, right angles, and our circle 360 degrees to find missing angles inside, those missing parts. All right. We are going to, one thing I wanted to talk about first. Go back up here before we leave. And so because these are opposite of each other, we call these vertical angles. They're across from each other. So on this one, X is a vertical angle to Z. So let's write that on here, vertical angles. So that's why we can write that they're equal to each other. Okay, and we'll use that tomorrow. All right, I will see everyone tomorrow, and we'll do Math Centers.